Okay, I think I have sound now. If you can hear me, can you just put in the chat that you can hear me? Let's see. Okay, well, I think I have sound. So we're going to start with a few opening prayers. The link to, yay, okay, great. People can hear me. So we're going to start with a few opening prayers. The prayers are in the chat. You can, or in the description of the video, just click the link to open the prayers. All right, here we go. Organ yogi numjan sampamage sardompola yatsin chogi ngorupne pemajone jesurak kordu kandro mangpokor ketki jesudak druki jinjilo chia sheksu son guru pema city home. Organ yogi numjan sam pemage sardompola yatsin chogi ngorupne pemajone jesurak kordu kandro mangpokor ketki jesudak druki jinjilo chia sheksu sol guru pema city home. Organ yogi numjan sam pemage sardompola yatsin chogi ngorupne pemajone jesurak kordu kandro mangpokor ketki jesudak druki jinjilo chia sheksu sol guru pema city home. These next ones we'll do one time each. Kunzando sem garab shiri sing pema kara jepani shunga sozo nimna taten gata so kate lama namla so wadam. Ogmin choki yinki pojana dusum sange kungi ngawonyen rangsen toko muton tonsepe tawe lama namla so wadam. Sashi pochu chu ching me to tram ri rab ning shi nye de kempadi sange zing du mek te po wai droko nanda jing la cho pashok tram guru ratna mandala putta mega samudra saparana sambaye ao. Sanchen namki sampadang loyi je jagjitawar che chonto monte pai choki kolo kordu sol. All right, so let's just take a moment to connect with our compassionate intention for being here today. We are here so that we can learn how to be of benefit to sentient beings, so that we can learn how to tame our own minds and how to adopt positive habits and release negative habits so we can be of the utmost benefit to all sentient beings. So let's just take a moment to reflect on that. All right, so we're going to do a short meditation. This is a meditation from Jetsuma's book, Stabilizing the Mind. Meditation is the natural state of mind when it's relaxed, stable, and open. And our minds are not usually like that. Our minds are usually pretty rowdy and running around and chasing after all sorts of hopes and fears and emails and conversations we've had in the past and conversations that we'll have in the future and just all sorts of nonsense. So when our mind is not like that, when our mind is calm and settled, there is a spaciousness that allows time between action and reaction. But when our minds are wound up and agitated and out of control, our minds control us instead of the other way around. So we can use meditation to create space in our minds. And we can work out our minds similarly to how we exercise our bodies to get strong. We can exercise the muscle of our minds to be calm and relaxed, yet also alert and wakeful. And when we create space in the mind, that also helps us to balance our emotions. Our emotions all the time come and carry us away, these afflictive emotions of anger, of sadness, of even joy will sweep us away, and we get carried away with our thoughts. And so creating space in the mind helps us to balance these emotions, which also helps us so that we can have the space to be able to choose actions that are actually beneficial and not be swept up in our emotions and in our thoughts and just acting by rote, doing things that are not beneficial. And if we want to generate bodhicitta, which is the awakened mind of wisdom and compassion, and the sincere desire to attain liberation, not only for oneself, but to attain liberation in order to help all sentient beings attain liberation from suffering. That wish, that strong, compassionate wish is the mind of bodhicitta. And in order to generate that in a stable way, we first have to calm our minds. So we're going to sit comfortably with our backs straight. You can sit in a cross-legged position, or you can sit up in a chair. Either way, just have your back straight. Sitting in a proper meditation posture is helpful for calming the mind. It makes it more possible. So you can place your hands in your lap, just gently relaxed, or you can place your right hand over your left hand with the thumbs touching, and then place your hands in that position right below your navel. So your thumbs are right below your navel. Or you can just place them on your lap. And in our tradition, we meditate with our eyes slightly open. So you can just look kind of down the bridge of your nose and find a place in the space in front of you to rest your eyes. If your mind starts agitated and wound up, you might want to move your eyes downward so they're a little bit more closed. Not all the way closed, but you can move them downwards closer to you, and that will help your mind calm down. And if you're too sleepy, you might want to raise your gaze a little bit so your eyes are a little bit more open, and that will help you stay awake. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And for these 5 minutes, we are just going to focus on our breath. We're going to breathe normally and breathe in and out. Just take a couple of normal breaths. And then put a very light attention on your breathing. And rest your attention on your breath, almost like it's like a down feather, a little goose feather. Just gently riding on the surface of your breath. We're not trying to control our breath or control our thoughts. No matter what thoughts come through our head, no matter what distractions may come up in our environment or in our own minds, we're going to just let them go and come back to the breath. Just drop the thought and come back to a gossamer thin attention on your breath. Just rest your attention very gently on your breath, almost like taking your pulse. We're not trying to control it in any way, not trying to manipulate it, but just gently resting on the surface of our breath. Right. And we'll just do this for 5 minutes. No matter what comes up, just come back to your breath. right. So today I want to talk about Thanksgiving. This is a unique year for Thanksgiving. And I don't know about you. I know for myself, for my family, we're trying to figure out, how do you celebrate Thanksgiving in a responsible, socially distanced way during a pandemic? It's a time when we're used to being with people, to gorging on turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing and sweet potato casserole and all of that. And how do you do that? Do you do that over Zoom? Do you have that? I mean, this is a dangerous time to be getting together. I hope everyone is being responsible in their Thanksgiving plans that they're organizing, being safe. And this means also that many of us are going to be lonely during this time. This holiday hinges on being with people, on being with family, or some people have Friendsgiving celebrations. But no matter what, we're always getting together with people at this time. We're getting together with people, and we are having a sense of abundance, of filling our table with all sorts of abundant foods, and just gorging ourselves on the abundance of our foods, the abundance of our friends and family, the abundance of love around us. So much abundance. And here we are in 2020, stuck in our own homes, stuck in our own apartments, not able to be with the people we love. If you're going to be alone for Thanksgiving, do you go all out and you make all the Thanksgiving fixings anyways and just have leftovers for weeks? Or do you exchange food with people somehow, do a food swap? Like, what do? Do you wind up just not having a Thanksgiving feast? What do? I think a lot of us are trying to figure out how we can have that sense of abundance in a time when our normal ways of celebrating that are not possible. But we still long for that sense of abundance. And when we can't have it, when we can't be with our family and friends, when we can't have our big, delicious feast, that makes us feel, it may make us feel lonely. It may make us feel deprived. It may make us feel like we don't have enough. We're alone. And there's also so much grief with this, kind of grief that you can't really put your finger on. Even if you haven't lost someone personally in this pandemic, if what you've lost is simply this things being normal, a sense of normalcy, that's still, or the ability to be with people who you love, that is still a sense of loss and creates a sense of grief. And there's this tremendous sense of separation that we have right now, not being able to be with the people that we're normally with. So I think a lot of us are thinking about that right now, about how we wish things could be another way, thinking about what we're missing, thinking about who we're separated from, and thinking about what we lack, what we lack that we wish we had. So I want to address that sense of lack and our misconception of abundance, of the way that we normally celebrate abundance, what we consider our abundance to be. That misconception is what drives our feeling of lack in this year, because truly we're not lacking. We're not lacking. We have an incredible abundance all around us right now, an abundance of love, an abundance of joy, an abundance of possibility. There is so much available to us right now, in this moment and in every moment. And if we recognize that, if we truly recognize that, we'll never feel a sense of separation. We'll never feel a sense of lacking, of not having enough. We always have everything we need in this moment. We just don't understand what it is that we need. So the Buddha has taught that this life, this human life, is a precious opportunity. And it's a precious opportunity to wake up. And what is it that we need to wake up from? Or what is it we need to wake up to? What we need to wake up to is our true nature. We don't understand that in our day-to-day lives feel so real to us. They feel so real and solid and important and serious. But the Buddha has taught that this is as insubstantial as a dream. What we call reality is as insubstantial as a dream. And Chagdog Tulku says, we don't understand that our mind is the dreamer, and our life experience the dream it has made. Because we have no idea that we are dreaming, we take life very seriously and often feel helpless when things don't go as we wish. So in this dream, we have karma. And if we create bad karma, this dream turns into a nightmare. And if we create good karma, the dream becomes more pleasant. We can have good dreams. But either way, we're still stuck in a dream. What we really want to do is to actually wake up from this dream. This is what the Buddha did, and it's why the Buddha is called the awakened one, because he woke up. He woke up from the dream of duality, the dream of separation and suffering. And through spiritual practice, we too can wake up just like the Buddha did. Chagdog Tulku says, waking up, revealing the essence of our existence, is the overriding purpose of our lives. The capacity to do so can be found only in the precious human birth. We cannot assume that having been human once will be guaranteed a human existence again and again. A human body is very difficult to obtain. So how did we get this human body? Because I don't think we value it enough. We don't value the preciousness of this human life that we have. This human body is incredibly difficult to obtain. What we did to get here is we accumulated a vast amount of merit over the course of previous lifetimes. We accumulated so much merit through scrupulously pure discipline. This kind of discipline involves three things. It means that we abstained from negative acts and harmful behavior. We cultivated virtuous thoughts and actions. And we did both of those with a motivation of an altruistic desire to benefit others. Those three things together create the possibility to be reborn as a human being. Because we amassed that vast amount of merit and had the aspiration to be reborn as a human being, we are here now in the human realm. And this precious human birth provides a freedom and leisure to practice that can't be found in any of the other realms of experience. The Buddha taught that there are 6 realms of existence. And in the lower realms, the hell realms, the hungry ghost realm, the animal realm, in those realms, beings have no opportunity to hear or understand the Dharma. They are, if for one, like in the animal realm, for instance, they're too ignorant. They're completely consumed with the suffering of their day-to-day lives. They don't have the capacity to think. They don't, as Jetsama often says, they don't really have foreheads. They don't have that that higher thought. Their brains are pretty simply built. They don't have that higher thought. Even very smart animals like parrots or dolphins or elephants or pigs, all of these very intelligent animals, they still don't have the type of intelligence required to practice the Dharma and to truly understand the teachings of the Buddha and put those teachings into action. And there are also in these lower realms, the beings there experience too much suffering to turn their minds towards practice. They are just consumed with suffering all of the time. And so they have no freedom or opportunity to practice. They are simply trying to survive. Simply trying, or in the hell realm, simply trying to make it to the next moment, perhaps. They are just so, I don't even think they could probably have the room in their space to think of anything other than the pain that they are experiencing in the hell realms. They don't even have the space in their mind to have a moment when they can think of their guru or think of compassion. Their suffering is so all-encompassing. Then in the higher realms, the God realms and the jealous God realms, the beings there are preoccupied with false contentment. They have everything they could want. They've got beauty and riches and jewels and delicious food. They've got all sorts of things to keep them entertained. And so they lack motivation and incentive to practice. Of course, that experience of bliss, that experience of wealth, all of that is impermanent. And so at some point, that will come to an end, and they will experience much suffering as they die. And then they will have used up all of their good karma. And so in their next life, they'll have an awful existence. And they will have squandered that very long, comfortable life. They will have squandered it just enjoying their flower garlands and their banquets and just enjoying selfishly. They will have wasted that entire opportunity because they're too preoccupied with their bliss. In the human realm, we're in the sweet spot. We know enough about suffering to want change, but the suffering is not so acute that we can't do anything about it. It's just a fire under our butt, keeps us moving forward, but it's not so intense that we're overwhelmed by it. We do still have enough space in our minds to think of compassion, to think of our guru, to look at our actions and what we're doing and to improve on them. We do have enough space in our minds to do this. And it can't be underestimated how precious and rare this opportunity is to even have that space of mind. And if you think, I know many of us feel like we don't have space in our minds, like we actually have very, very busy minds, and that we actually do have quite a lot of suffering in our lives. But it's not even comparable to the other realms for just the difference in that. We don't realize the wealth that small amount of space that we have in our minds. We don't realize the wealth of that. The Buddha, Chagdatuka Rinpoche says that the Buddha illustrated the rarity of the precious human birth with a metaphor comparing the entire 3,000-fold universe to a huge ocean with a wooden yoke floating somewhere on top of it. The yoke is continually buffeted by the wind, the waves, and the currents. And at the bottom of the ocean lives a blind turtle. Once every 100 years, it comes to the surface for a gulp of air, then goes back down to the bottom. The laws of chance are such that sooner or later, the moment the turtle surfaces, the wind will blow the yoke over its head and the turtle will poke through. That this will happen is just barely conceivable. According to the Buddha, the chances of someone finding a precious human birth are even less likely. So once we appreciate the rarity of this precious human birth, and we appreciate the opportunity that it provides us, we begin to understand that this is not something to be wasted, that we should take advantage of every moment of our existence in order to fulfill its deeper purpose, the purpose of our human life, which is to reveal the essence of our existence and the true nature of mind. That is the purpose of this human life. To reveal the true nature of mind is to wake up from this dream, the same way that the Buddha did. Jetsama says, the dream state is not much different from the living state, but we can train ourselves to wake up from the dream. Why is it that we can't train ourselves to wake up from this? Because the condition of this phenomena, as we are now, is that we've experienced dreaming and something else, dreaming and waking. So we can wake ourselves up from a dream because we know where we're going. But we can't wake ourselves up from this dream because we don't know what to wake into. So that's our conundrum. We're asleep. We have no idea what it means to wake up. So when we recognize the precious opportunity of this human life, we must take refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and in the Guru as the embodiment of all three of those. We take refuge in all sorts of things throughout our lives. We take refuge in our friends, in our family, in our routines. We take refuge in, in Netflix and social media. We take refuge in, spa days. We take refuge in foods we like. We take refuge in salt and sugar. These things that we know will give us a little instant jolt of happiness. We take refuge in our senses. We take refuge in our delusions, in our own ideas of things. There are so many things that we take refuge in. And we continually forget to take refuge in what is truly important, which is the three jewels. And when we talk about taking refuge in the three jewels, it's not like a superficial thing. We have to take refuge in the three jewels in a real way. Not just like yes, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha, blah, 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 blah. Like, not like that. Like, really, from the heart, we have to truly, truly understand that they are the one source of happiness. They are the one way out of suffering. This dream that we're in, this dream of suffering and separation and loss and lack and impermanence and really endless suffering, the only way out of that is to take refuge in the three jewels. So we have to train our minds as if we think of the three precious jewels as a rope that is hanging off a cliff, and we're just like, if you imagine yourself hanging over a giant abyss with crocodiles at the bottom, and there's one string to safety, there's one rope that you have to hold on to, and that is, the rope is the only thing that's keeping you from falling miles and miles down to the bottom of this canyon. And there's alligators and crocodiles at the bottom. I guess probably don't have alligators and crocodiles in the same place, but there's crocodiles at the bottom. And the only thing that is keeping you from falling is this rope. That rope is the three precious jewels. That string, Jetsama says, that string is Guru Rinpoche, is the Lama. And that's what we've got. So start climbing. And what I mean by that is to sincerely take refuge deeply in the most profound way that we can. So we can take refuge in sit-down practice. We can take refuge when we're walking around too. We might notice from time to time when we're taking refuge in other things, when we're taking refuge in TV or social life, or when we're taking refuge in our cell phones and the endless scrolling on social media, when we're taking refuge in that. We might notice when we're taking refuge in, in liquor or in food or in anything, beauty products, anti-aging creams, anything that you might find yourself taking refuge in, thinking, this is it. This is what's going to bring me happiness right now. When you notice that, you can catch yourself and you can say, no, this isn't what does it. This is keeping me asleep. This is a sleeping pill I'm taking right now. This is keeping me in the dream. And you can turn that around, and you can take refuge in the 3 jewels. So when we turn to these other objects of refuge, these ordinary objects as our objects of refuge, when we go to them to be happy again, when we think that Facebook is going to make us happy, and we think that Netflix and Netflix and brownies are going to make us happy, and we think that just burying ourselves under the covers with a book is going to bring us happiness. When we do that, we're practicing non-prayer. We're practicing the opposite of prayer. And we don't think of it that way because we have a very small idea of what prayer is. We think prayer is reciting certain words, like there are some special poems, and when you say them out loud, they magically become prayers, and they're magic. But that's not prayer. Prayer is not that small of a thing. We're going to get to that. But when we take refuge in these ordinary objects, we're practicing the opposite of prayer. And that's those ordinary objects, that ordinariness is our daily prayer. We don't even realize it. We are constantly reciting Om Samsara Hum, Om Samsara Hum, Om Samsara Hum. Samsara is the cycle of existence, the wheel of existence and of suffering. We're constantly creating it again and again by turning to it for refuge. We turn to it for refuge. We say, give me more of this. I want more of this. And we don't even realize that we're creating more of it. We're just building more dreams when really what we want to do is wake up. So we should realize that here we are in this dream state. And in order to get out of the dream state, we need to rely completely on the awakened one, on the Buddha. We don't want to rely on the teachings of someone else who's also asleep. That's like the blind leading the blind. We want to follow the Buddha because the Buddha has crossed the ocean of suffering. He has awakened from this dream. So we follow his teachings. He knows the path to take because he's taken it. And we can see that those who follow this path purely also achieve the same result. So we can have faith and we can take refuge in that. We can take refuge in what's real, not in the delusions of this dream state. We can take refuge in the path of awakening. So we rely on the Buddha. The way that we rely on the Buddha is like if we consider the Buddha the doctor. And with the Buddha's teachings, the Buddha told us what's wrong with us. He tells us what's making us sick and how to fix it. And the Dharma is the method of fixing it. So it's like the medicine. And the Dharma is a tried and true method that practitioners have practiced for thousands of years, even before Shakyamuni Buddha, who we know as the historical Buddha. He was not the first Buddha. There were actually Buddhas prior to him, and these methods have been used since time out of mind. These methods existed before Shakyamuni Buddha. They are tried and true methods that have been used since time out of mind to escape the suffering of samsara. And so these methods are medicine. So the Buddha is the doctor. He tells us what's wrong with us, and he tells us what medicine we need to take. Then the Sangha is they're like the nurses. So if you think of like being in a coma and there's no one there to take care of you except for the nurses, and the nurses bring us the medicine. The nurses support us. They lift our head when our pillow needs changing. And they make sure that we're getting our medicine. The Sangha is like the nurse in that way. And so just like if we were in a coma and we had these nurses taking care of us, ensuring that we're getting the medicine that we need, that we're taken care of, that we're comforted, think of the love and respect that you would have for those nurses. And that is the love and respect that we should have for our Sangha members, for our Sangha brothers and sisters. We rely on them. And then we rely on the Guru as the union of all three jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Guru embodies all three. So when we talk about taking refuge in the three jewels, when we talk about taking refuge, it does not mean taking refuge in something external. This is not like a Christian idea of God or some old man on a throne who's going to come save you. This is not like just saying like, well, just accept them as your Lord and Savior and you're done. It's a way of being. Taking refuge, it's not just something that you say with your mouth. It's not just something you say once. It's not something you just do on Sundays just to re-up for the week. Taking refuge is a way of being, understanding the situation that you're in, understanding that you are hanging off of that cliff face over the abyss with the crocodile snapping at your ankles, and that rope is what you have. That is all you have. And when you stay like that, when you stay in that way of being, that's what it means really to take refuge. If you were hanging onto that rope over the abyss with the crocodiles, you wouldn't forget momentarily about it and say, hey, you know what? Let's watch this on Netflix. You know what I think would really make me happy? Brownies. I need brownies right now. That's what's going to make me happy. No, you would be plunging to your death then. You would not be distracted from that rope. If you really understood the situation that you were in, considering the rarity of this precious human birth, considering the extreme nature of suffering in the six realms, if you understand, and just how rare it is to have this all come together, to have this birth, to have the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha there, to have the intelligence to be able to, to have the sense faculties to be able to read and hear the teachings, and the intelligence to understand them and put them into practice, and all of these things coming together are so rare. It's such a rare opportunity. And if we understood this, we would never look away from that rope. Not for a second. We would never look away from that rope. So if our refuge in the three jewels, if these three jewels are not external to us, then what are they? How are they? If it's not external, what is it? Well, the reason that we can awaken like the Buddha did, if we just follow in the Buddha's footsteps, if we do as he did, we can awaken the same way as he did. The reason why that is because we are of the same nature. Because truly, our nature is the Buddha nature. And every single sentient being has the same nature, has the Buddha nature. And it's like if you shine a light through crystal and it puts all these rainbows out on the wall. You see all of these different rainbows. And if you forget about the crystal, you forget about the light, if you just look at the rainbows, you go, well, that's a red one, that's a yellow one, that's a purple one, there's a green one, there's a blue one. I like the green ones better than the purple ones. And you have all these judgments, and you see them as these separate colors, all these different colors on the wall. They're different. And they're different from you. They're different from each other, and they're very real. But we understand that rainbow display is actually, it's not separate. You can kind of backtrack and come back to that light that is shining through the crystal, and they are not separate in that light. In that light of our true nature, we are not separate. We just perceive ourselves as being separate. But in our nature, we are all the Buddha nature. And we have to remember to look back to that light. So the Jetsama says, the Buddha taught us a teaching called anatta, which means that there is the absence of soul, that there's no self, but all that exists is the primordial wisdom nature, with all potential, every potential, including the idea of self, including the idea of dreams, including the idea of phenomena rising out of emptiness. All potential is there. And so because all potential is here, this potential is here. One of the ways in which this nature, this primordial Buddha, could explain itself, could display itself, is in phenomena. We cling to that phenomena. We cut our teeth on that phenomena. That phenomena has been our experience since time out of mind, and so we are used to it. We are accustomed to it. It's the only thing that makes us feel safe, oddly enough. And we spend all of our time contemplating the solidity of self-nature, that self-nature is inherently real. We think that if we hold on to self-nature, we'll be safe because we'll be us. I'll be staying here, you'll be staying there, and we'll continue in phenomena because we identify with this body thinking it's ourself. But in fact, there is no difference between phenomena and emptiness. It is the same nature. It is the same essence, the same taste. So while our habitual tendencies cause us to remain in this delusion of separation, still this nature exists, wholesome, absolutely complete, perfect, with no need for aggrandizement, with no need for construction. It is as it is. This is the nature that is our nature. But we don't get that. We don't get that. We don't get that we're all the same nature. We're constantly hoodwinked by this idea of duality, this concept of duality. And this point that she makes that, you know, this idea of self-nature, we're so accustomed to it that it's the only thing that makes us feel safe. We hold so tightly to it because it's what makes us feel safe. It's what we know. We don't know what it is that we're supposed to wake up to. We just know this. We just know this delusion. And so we cling very, very tightly to it. It's like our little security blanket. Our idea of self-nature as being inherently real is our little security blanket that makes us feel like we're okay. And yet, it's the very thing that makes us suffer. So it's sad and it's ridiculous to be clinging to this. Our concept of this concept of duality is so persistent, of duality of separation. Our concept of separation persists even in how we pray. So even when we are praying, we still can't get past this idea of duality. And we pray as though even those of us who aren't, you know, I know many people who have come to Buddhism, they may have practiced another religion before, especially in the West. In the West, many people started as Christian or Jewish or something, and then they came to Buddhism, and we do have some holdovers from that. This idea of being non-dual is new to us. And so we take this idea of separation, we overlay it, we read about the Buddhas, we read about taking refuge, and we say, oh, that's another way in which I can practice separation. Oh, I don't have to just be separated in my normal life. Now I can pray and I can have this special kind of separation where some refuge out there is gonna, me over here, I can pray to that over there and it'll go help them over there. And we think, wow, this kind of separation is so special. It's a really special thing to do. And we don't realize that we're just practicing separation. We're still just practicing duality. It's the habit that we just can't kick. So we pray, as Jetsama says, we pray as though God is listening, and so nobody's in charge, unconnected. You know what I mean? Kind of unconnected. We do it by rote, like a parrot learns. We repeat and hope for the best, almost like a magic incantation. And she says, we think, I am praying to Guru Rinpoche, and he's going to make everything better. And that's not what Guru Rinpoche taught you, unfortunately. And then we think, you know, I'll just say some words, or I'll say some mantra, and magically it will go there and sprinkle stardust on everybody. It's like this idea that there's no connection. We don't have any idea how there's going to be a benefit. So prayer is not stardust. It's not pixie dust. It's not, prayer is not, you know, sometimes we think about prayer like, if you remember, you know, if you think of going to the bank, to the drive-through ATM, and you go up to the drive-through ATM, and there's that tube, that special tube where you put your deposit in the little, they give you a little container, and you put your deposit in the container and you put it into the tube, and it just, and it goes up and around and goes over to the bank teller. And then the bank teller puts something, you know, she takes out your deposit, she puts in your receipt and sends it right back to you and comes back. We think of prayer like that. We think, oh, I'm going to put my little special prayer in this little thing, and I'm going to send it over to Guru Rinpoche. And then when Guru Rinpoche gets my prayer, then he'll send some blessings over to this person over here. And it's not how it works. It's not Santa. This isn't Santa Claus. It's not like that. You're not sent, there's no thing that you're sending. There's no separate deity that's receiving, and there's no separation between you and the beings that you're praying for. There is no separation in any of that. So how do we pray then? How should we pray if we don't want to pray like we're making a deposit at the bank? So Jyotsuma advises us that first we practice Guru Yoga. And without Guru Yoga, we'll never learn to pray properly. And she says that's because Guru Yoga is the nest in which prayers are developed. I love that. Guru Yoga is the nest in which prayers are developed. So in Guru Yoga, we see the Lama as the embodiment of all of the fields of refuge. The Guru is the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, the protectors, and the Dakinis. Everything, the owners of the land, all of the fields of refuge, all of the extraordinary displays of Buddha nature that are not arisen from samsara, but are pure and untainted. We look to the Guru for that. And in our practice, through our practice, we become absolutely non-dual with the Guru. That's the method. That's the way. You mix your mind stream with the Guru like milk with water. When you mix milk with water together, milk and water together, you can see they start out looking very separate, and you mix them together, and you can't pull them apart. So that's what we mean. They become inseparable. You can't cut that in half then. You mix the milk with water, and then it's one thing. Now you've got like milk water. It's just one thing. Our mind and the Guru can mix perfectly together like that. The Guru Rinpoche himself said, I will be there in the form of your root Guru. He said, when you call out to me, I will be there in the form of your root Guru. So the most important practice, in a nutshell, is to remember, so in the practice of Guru Yoga, you visualize your root Guru as Guru Rinpoche above the crown of your head. And you visualize your Guru as Guru Rinpoche, as Padmasambhava, because when we think of our Guru, we're in this way, when we're mixing our minds with the Guru, We are not trying to mix our minds with our ordinary, deluded perceptions of the Guru, but with the actual essence of the Guru. So we all in our delusion, we look at our gurus and we think like, oh, I like your hair. I like your makeup. I like how you said this. I don't like how you said this. I don't like it when you use that word. Oh, I hate that shirt on you. Oh, I like it when you make me feel good. Oh, you look ugly when you sneeze, whatever. We have all of these, like all of our normal, ordinary thoughts that we think about anybody. We think about them towards our guru. We think my guru is good at this and they're bad at this. They're, when we judge them, we think, oh, they're fat, they're skinny. My guru is pretty, my guru is ugly. That's not how we should be thinking of our gurus. Our gurus are not ordinary. We shouldn't. I mean, it's not really nice to think of anybody in these ways, but our gurus are not ordinary, so we should not be using ordinary judgment towards them. And so in Guru Yoga, because we know that's just the way that we think of things. So in Guru Yoga, we visualize our root guru as Padmasambhava, so that we can it's a workaround to get around of our normal, ordinary, judgmental mind, so that we don't fall into judging our guru's appearance while we're trying to mix our minds. So in Guru Yoga, visualizing Guru Rinpoche, your root guru is Guru Rinpoche above the crown of your head. You visualize white light coming from his forehead to your forehead, and from his head to our head, and then the red light from his throat to our throat for the empowerment. So the white light is the empowerment of the body, and then the red light from his throat to our throat, the empowerment of speech, and then the blue light like smoke from his heart to our heart, which is the empowerment of mind. And that empowerment, Jetsama says, that's an empowerment that we should be receiving 24 hours a day. Every time your mind has a little space, just every time you can remember, you must train yourself to remember, to receive the nectar, receive the blessing. You don't have to, it's very good. Please actually do the full Guru Yoga practice, but in any moment, you can do this part of the practice. Any moment that you remember, you can visualize your root guru above your head and you can receive the empowerments. This is very important to do any moment that you remember. Instead, we walk around thinking, I'm lonely, I need my space, I need to go do stuff. I should do some shopping. I need things. There are so many things I need. I need activities. I'm bored and I need something to do. I just need something. I just need a little something salty. I just need something sweet. I just need some chocolate. I just need something, we carry on with all of these, like, this is what I need. I need this. I need this. I need this. I need this. And we're grasping at just crumbs on the floor when there is a feast all around us. The feast of our true nature, of the blessings of our guru. That is there in every moment. We just have to actually turn to it and pick up a fork, basically. And every minute, this amazing, phenomenal connection is available to us. If we would just remember. And Jetsama says, we should develop the habit of constantly keeping that connection. Any moment that we think about it, if you have a minute, say the 7-line prayer and ask for the guru's blessing, and there you have it. Boom, boom, boom. Because when you ask, it is always given. There is no time that you ask and it is not given. It happens that you can't receive sometimes, but you just keep trying. It's your habit. Eventually, over time, and we should do this while we're praying, this is prayer. This is prayer without ceasing. This is constant prayer. So I was saying before, when we take refuge in all of these other ordinary things, and that is the opposite of prayer. That is the opposite of prayer, because this state of taking refuge, of receiving the nectar of the guru, of receiving the blessing of the guru, of mixing your mind with the guru, that is prayer. And that is something that is a state of being that you can be in constantly, instead of practicing this state of duality and deprivation. We can have the abundant blessings of our Guru in any moment. We can feast on that. And so Jetsama says, anytime we take a break, anytime we have a moment, just flash on your own root Guru appearing as Guru Rinpoche and receive the empowerments. Why would you let your mind do what it does? Receive the empowerment. Mix your mind with the Guru's mind. Awaken to the non-duality, the nature that is your nature. And she says, Jetsama says, that prayer is when you are in a state of awakening. That's different than what we think prayer is. We think prayer is blah, 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 blah with our mouths. We think it's just reading something out loud. We think it's, making a wish and someone sprinkles pixie dust on someone else across the world. But that's not it. How do our prayers be of benefit? How is it that our prayers actually benefit others? If there's no pixie dust involved, if there's no magic, letters to Santa, and Santa goes and gives and flies on his sleigh over to someone else and drops off some gifts and some blessings, if that's not how it works, how is it that our prayers actually benefit anyone? Well, Jetsama says, when the bodhicitta, that is the nectar of the Guru's mind, is mixed with your own mind, and the nectar becomes inseparable, that nectar is the bodhicitta. And when one speaks with the authority of the bodhicitta, in the way of the bodhicitta, that is prayer. A great bodhisattva can command that a thing be done, and it will be done. And she says, it's a sense of being fully mixed with the nectar of the bodhicitta. Being fully aware that your nature is the bodhicitta. It is the bodhicitta that benefits sentient beings. When you are aware that you are that, it is that you send to others. When you look at someone and you are that bodhicitta, and you look at someone and just by looking at them, the bodhicitta will wake up. That's the power. That is the power of the bodhisattvas and of the Buddhas. So in this time, as we are considering our Thanksgiving feasts, and we're thinking how it is that we can have enough to feel satisfied, to feel like we've had a real holiday, to feel the sense of abundance and community that we associate with the holidays. I hope that you'll think about it a little bit differently and look for the feast that is here in every moment, for the abundance available to you in every moment, and for the connection of your Sangha brothers and sisters who are always with you, inseparable. This is the true feast. This is the true feast, and it's there every moment. Jetsama says, how many times have you found yourself during the course of your life being faced with some bountiful feast, and you take the posture of being a peasant who takes only the crumbs of that feast? You missed out because you did not know how to take hold. You found yourself dancing on the sidelines, holding back. Isn't that what's happening now? Aren't we in the midst of a bountiful feast, holding a precious jewel that takes endless lifetimes to find, and we just don't know what to do? We sort of look around, we can't help ourselves. So take hold of it, use it. You're standing at the threshold of the door of liberation, looking at the very mind of liberation, the face of Guru Rinpoche. Every day, Guru Rinpoche is touching your life. Lord Buddha is touching your life. That nature is revealed to you, but you cannot see it because you have the habit of being a beggar at a feast. You have to stop that now. Sit at the table like the king or queen that you are and eat the feast. It doesn't get any better than this or any easier. Take advantage of it. So that's it for today. I hope that you will consider this, and I hope that you will remember this feast that is available to you. Remember the rope that is keeping you from the crocodiles. Hope you'll hold on to that rope. And I hope that you won't get lost in your sense of loss and duality and separation in this time. This pandemic and being separated from each other makes it very easy to fall into that sense of separation. We're alone, and it's very easy for us to feel lonely when we're alone and to feel like we don't have enough. Especially when we don't see each other, we forget to be compassionate towards each other. So if you feel alone, if you feel like you don't have enough, please remember that you are never alone. The Guru is always with you. And because the Guru is always with you, so are the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Dharma, the Sangha, the protectors, the Dakinis. You are never alone. And you're never without. You just have to pick up your fork and eat the feast that is here for you. So we're going to close with a dedication, with Jetsuma's dedication. This is on the last page of the opening prayers. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. Thank you, everyone, and happy